Good morning. My name is Jose Trovato. I'm the Executive Director of the Office of Emergency Management and Communications for the City of Chicago. For more than a year, the City of Chicago has held hundreds of meetings with 10 citywide committees and 23 United States Secret Service committees to plan for the Democratic National Convention in Chicago. OMC is coordinating public safety efforts for the DNC around the United Center, McCormick Place, and throughout the 237 square miles that make up the city. Our number one priority is public safety. Throughout the past year, OMC has been coordinating security and safety planning with the Secret Service, the Chicago Police Department, Chicago Fire Department, city agencies, as well as other partners and convention organizers to ensure the safety of all residents, visitors, and convention attendees. We have plans in place to handle the additional crowds and increased traffic citywide. The largest impacts will be felt around the United Center and McCormick Place due to street closures, parking restrictions, and added security measures. Businesses and homes will be accessible within those perimeters. Before heading out, please remember to plan ahead, allow extra travel time, consider alternate routes, and use public transportation when possible. OMC, alongside with other city departments and federal agencies, have been canvassing the impacted areas to engage with residents and businesses to answer questions since April of this year. This includes areas around the United Center, McCormick Place, the Central Business District, the West Loop, and including the South Loop. OMC's website, chicago.gov/OMC, contains important information related to public safety, street closures, traffic reroutes, parking restrictions, emergency notifications, and much more. Throughout the convention, OMC will be pushing out important notifications. In addition to Notify Chicago and ShyBiz alerts, we have developed a dedicated text alert for the convention, DNC 2024. In order to opt in, you can text DNC to the following number, 226-787, and I'll repeat that, 226-787. The best way to receive all the information is to download the Chicago OMC app. I believe last time we were on together, I recommended that app highly, and I still recommend it highly. Additionally, to enhance our monitoring of citywide events, OMC will activate the city's Emergency Operations Center, staffed by representatives from more than 40 city departments, county, state, and federal agencies. While we make every effort on behalf of the city to keep residents and visitors safe, we want to remind everyone they also have a role to play. We encourage the public to please report any suspicious activity by calling 911. Simply said, if you see something, say something. We look forward to ensuring a safe convention for all. Thank you. Now, please welcome John Roberson, Chief Operating Officer, Office of the Mayor. Sir.
Thank you, Jose. Again, my name is John Roberson. I'm the Chief Operating Officer for the City of Chicago and the point person for leading the city's preparations for the DNC. Let me be absolutely clear. The City of Chicago is ready to host the 2024 Democratic National Convention. As many of you know, the city has a long history in hosting conventions and large events like this, and this will be the 26th time that the City of Chicago has had the honor of hosting a national party convention. Our preparations for the DNC is reverberating throughout all our neighborhoods, and we look forward to showcasing the absolute best of our city. We are thankful to our partners and are proud through this whole of government approach led by our mayor, Mayor Brandon Johnson, and demonstrated here because of the tremendous partnerships and collaboration and coordination between the U.S. Secret Service, the Chicago Police Department, our Office of Emergency Management, as well as the DNC Host Committee and the DNCC. We are here to show off our city. We are here in this moment to show that Chicago can shine. We are here to demonstrate that in this moment that we can host the most democratic of activities, the nomination of someone to the highest office of our land, and to provide space and room for the full expression of our First and Fourth Amendment rights. We have every confidence that our visitors, our delegates, and the 2.7 people that call Chicago home will be able to enjoy this convention in a safe and vibrant manner. We want everyone to return, and we want everyone to have an amazing time and experience our city, even if they don't get to view everything during this time. We want them to come back because Chicago is the greatest city in the world. And at this time, I'm going to turn it over to our police superintendent, Superintendent Snelling.
Thank you, sir. First of all, good morning and welcome everyone who's here. I'd like to thank Executive Director Jose Tirado of OEMC for hosting this today. It is important to understand the partnership that has been going on for over a year with our training. A lot of discussion around the DNC has been around public safety. And our departments who are represented here shows that work, that our focus on public safety is at the forefront. We want to make sure that everyone who's coming to the city of Chicago, all of our residents, everyone who is participating are safe. This is our first priority. We want to make sure that we have a safe and successful Democratic National Convention. Oftentimes, it is forgotten that there was a Democratic Convention between 1968 and now. It was a success. The Chicago Police Department does a great job of working through events like this, and this will be no different. I want to reassure everyone that we will have resources in every single neighborhood. So that it's not forgotten that we have a city to protect. It's not just around the venues covering the Democratic National Convention. The Chicago Police Department will be in every single neighborhood protecting the neighborhoods. So we will not deplete resources from our neighborhoods to simply put in the area where the Democratic National Convention is being held. Our officers have been training for over a year. And Chicago Police Department, along with everyone who is going to be working with us, our federal, state, local partners, county, we're all working in collaboration to make sure that the city is safe and secure. Now, with that, I'd like to turn it over to Secret Service Deputy Special Agent in charge, Derek Meyer.
Thank you, Superintendent Snelling. Thank you, Executive Director Tirado. And thank you, Chief Operating Officer Robertson, and all of the other key leaders who are here today. I'm Derek Meyer, the Deputy Special Agent in charge of the United States Secret Service's Chicago Field Office. Less than a week from now, the nation's attention will focus on the great city of Chicago as it hosts the 2024 Democratic National Convention. Planning for this convention has been going on for well over a year. That planning, which required the help of our federal, state, and local partners, has included thousands of hours of analyzing, training, and working with the public to develop a comprehensive safety plan that was released last month. The convention has been designated a national special security event. That delegation allows for a whole-of-government approach. It means that the federal government has its full complement of resources and works with its state and local partners to ensure a safe and secure environment for residents, delegates, and the entire city of Chicago as the DNC opens on Monday. I want to stress there is no better partner the Secret Service could have than the city of Chicago and its world-class police department. Superintendent Snelling is a tremendous partner, and CPD is the best in the world. I'm proud to tell you we are ready. While the DNC is obviously a huge event, Chicago has a proven track record when it comes to putting on huge events. Just this summer, Chicago has brilliantly hosted NASCAR, Lollapalooza, and the Air and Water Show this past weekend. The Secret Service also has a proven track record in coordinating security for national special security events. The DNC marks the 79th NSSE. So far this year, the Secret Service was in charge of the State of the Union, NATO, and the Republican National Convention in Milwaukee that took place last month. The Chicago Field Office also coordinated security for the RNC in Milwaukee. These events were all conducted in a secure environment, and we're expecting similar results in Chicago. The Chicago Police Department is among 17 public safety entities, including the Secret Service, that belong to the Executive Steering Committee. That committee oversaw development of the DNC security plan and included input from experts on topics including national intelligence, airspace security, traffic control, and more. Our preparation and planning kept in mind planned and spontaneous demonstrations. The Secret Service and our federal, state, and local partners respect every American's First Amendment right. Superintendent Snelling and the Chicago Police Department are well equipped to handle protests and keep everyone safe. During the DNC, we know that there will be some impacts on the community, especially when it comes to traffic and parking. But the Secret Service and its partners have done our best to minimize those disruptions by working with community members throughout layers of public outreach for over the last year. I'm confident that our plan will provide a safe and secure environment during the DNC. Again, I want to thank the City of Chicago, the Chicago Police Department, and our many other partners who are here today for all the work that's already been done, and especially the work that's going to come in the next week and a half. Thank you.
We're going to open this up for questions.
To the special agent in charge, if you could come back to the podium. There are so many moving parts. There are so many moving parts, as you saw up in Milwaukee, that we're seeing in Chicago. Of all of them, which one gives you the most pause? What's the singular question you'd like to have an answer to today that we can't know until next week?
Nothing gives me a pause. I think just like we were in Milwaukee, we'll be very successful in Chicago. We have the greatest partners you could ask for, just like in Milwaukee. So I reiterate, nothing gives me a pause on this convention that's going to take place next week. You know, obviously, we want to make sure that the residents of Chicago and people who come to Chicago have a very enjoyable experience. I think, you know, there will be traffic delays. But that's Chicago. We always have traffic delays in the city. But I reiterate, we want people to come out and enjoy this world-class city.
City's route will make it so that people could be spilling out into the community. The protesters are worried that there will be a quagmire, that they have so many protesters that it'll push them out into the community. They wanted a bigger space. The judge said no, so now they have that designated area.
We're prepared for that. Again, you know, as a police department, we have to be fluid, right? So things are ever evolving, and as they evolve, we make necessary adjustments to accommodate that. That's not something that I'm really worried about right now. We know what we didn't want to do is tie up additional resources by prolonging a protest of that nature, but we will ensure as a police department that people who are protesting and exercising their First Amendment rights get the opportunity to do that. We will protect them, and we will protect the neighborhoods.
Will you do a similar agreement with the protesters the way they did in Milwaukee, kind of a handshake agreement that you won't be arresting people as long as everything is?
Well, here's what I'll tell you. We talk to organizers all the time, and we don't need an agreement that we're not going to arrest people if people are not committing crimes. If everybody is doing exactly what's expected of them and they're exercising their First Amendment rights, this isn't an arrest situation. We want people to exercise their First Amendment rights. We will protect them while they're doing that. But we will not guarantee someone that we're not going to make arrests if they start to act violently or commit crimes.
Are there going to be any special security considerations around Union Park and Park number 578? That seems to be where a lot of the organized protest activity is going to take place.
There is always a focus on locations where we know we have a large number of people who can gather. So again, we do have plans around that. These are things that we've looked at. We've actually worked along with other agencies, our federal partners, and any intelligence that we gather as we move along, we'll make adjustments there also. But we do have plans in place to make sure that that area is secure.
Superintendent, good morning.
Good morning.
For you and for John, what is your message to those who live in this particular area, especially those businesses? Some have told us that they are concerned that if something does go awry, that they will be left out and that the safety priority will not be for their businesses.
No, that's absolutely not true. The safety priority around this city is for everyone. And as I said before, it's not just about the venue of the Democratic National Convention. Obviously, we're going to secure that location, but we have areas around that are part of our neighborhood. These people are here. They will be here long after the Democratic National Convention is gone. They were here long before it'll be here. And we want to ensure that they're protected. So we have the resources to make sure that we protect all of these locations. And if there's anything.
Superintendent, can we, sorry, can you guys see me behind the cameras? Hi.
Sorry.
I just had a question about, sometimes the protesters can kind of move like the water and they can get into areas you're not anticipating. If protesters are able to get into the pedestrian area, or like the soft perimeter, are they going to be able to get right up to the fence, or how are you guys going to deal with that?
Yeah, listen, they need to be within sight and sound of the location. Right, and those locations are designated, and we'll make sure that they get there. We want to make sure they get there safely. And again, we don't want to interfere with their First Amendment rights. We're going to make sure that we do that. We get them there safely, give them the opportunity to have their voices heard, be seen, and then hopefully when it's all over, everybody disperses safely, and we move on to the next thing.
Superintendent, over here.
Gotcha.
One of the apparent breakdowns from the events in Butler, Pennsylvania was a lack of visuals or blind spots that occurred at that incident. Can you talk about what role the pod cameras will play for the city of Chicago and how many of those have been under repair recently?
So what I can tell you about the way the pod cameras are used, we use them all across the city in every district. So our ATC rooms, our area technology teams, along with our SDSC rooms in the district, we can look at every location, almost every location within the district where we know there's a possibility that something can come up. But what I can tell you is PSA is working on camera repairs and installations if necessary. So these installations have been going on for quite some time, and they continue to do that.
Are there areas of under repair still, or areas of your concern?
Well, that's across the city. And the locations that you're specifically talking about, we have security measures around those locations to ensure that we don't have a major incident like that occur.
Superintendent, if I can follow up on that and just clarify, because you mentioned PSA, and I know it's kind of their bailiwick and not yours, but have you asked for, or has there been some coordination to put additional cameras up around the United Center to monitor areas where protesters may be going, or around the perimeter to help give you, eyes and ears, if you will, on locations that maybe you didn't have them before?
Well, like I said, I'm not going to go into every little detail about what's going on around that location. We have eyes and ears on everything that we possibly can in that location. And we're working with our federal partners to ensure that we don't have a major incident occur in that area.
If I could follow up, just a question for the Secret Service representative, Mr. Meyer. What do you say to concerns that people might have about, the security lapses that happened in Pennsylvania that allowed former President Trump to be shot? If people have questions about, is the Secret Service really ready and have everything covered, were there lessons that were learned from that put you guys on a greater sense of making sure we have everything covered?
We talk about that all the time. If you're not learning and trying to be innovative and creative in law enforcement, you're not doing your job. So obviously all of us in law enforcement are trying to get better every day. But as far as comparing Butler to a national special security event, you can't compare it. This is a whole of government approach. We've been planning for this convention for well over a year, so we can't compare the two.
I wonder if you could talk a little bit about what you're doing in terms of keeping ear to the ground, monitoring social media, developing intelligence on anybody that might be coming to Chicago for the wrong reason.
Well, we work closely with our federal partners, JTTF, and also the Bureau of Counterterrorism. Any intel that we get, we make adjustments. Any information that we think the public needs to know or something that we need to warn the public about, we will absolutely put that out there. Right now, we're doing the same thing. Anything that we see, we create plans around it for preventive measures, for one. All right. A lot of times we'll hear threats or we'll see things. We look at the credibility of it, but obviously we take them all seriously. So when we see something that we think could be volatile, we get out in front of it and we make sure that we put preventive measures in place. That's it.